Having these quality trout streams in my backyard is really kind of a part of who I am and who I, want to be. Being out here is makes me whole.
Water really is the lifeblood of this valley for agriculture, for fish, for recreation. We take water for granted too often, I think. We don't really appreciate what we have until we lose it, do we? The Ruby Valley doesn't look like a desert, but it basically is, because we get about 11 inches of rainfall a year. And so the water that we receive for our crops out of the river is critical to sustaining the whole operation, actually. If we don't have irrigation water, we don't have crops. It used to be, back in the good old days, everybody just kind of did it on their own. They had a water right, they turned on the ditch and took the water, and I remember my dad talking about before the Ruby Dam was in, the Ruby River was dry because people just took all the water for irrigation. There was no thought about fish. Fish was not really an important thing to irrigators.
The efficiency of irrigation has changed tremendously over the years. And a lot of it has been spurred by the irrigators' desire to make better use of that water for economic reasons, but also to maintain the fisheries that everybody in the community depends upon. And the Jefferson River here, for instance, when we moved to this ranch, the fish count was around 300 fish per mile. The river would basically go dry some low water years. And today the fish population in the Jefferson River is around 1,500 fish per mile.
We have electronic water gauges on the river that monitor the flow of the river, and the dam keeper looks at those monitoring gauges every single day. And if he needs more water in a certain section of the river, he'll call the directors in that, the director who's in charge of that area. And that director will get on the phone and get to his neighbors and have them turn down their irrigation ditches so we can bring the water back up to that normal flow in that section of the river. When it's terribly dry and hot and people are really needing to irrigate, they voluntarily shut their ditches down and put water back in the river.
Yeah, the Ruby Valley is a fairly intact, large landscape agricultural ecosystem that supports good trout habitat. So good trout habitat depends on the 5 C's. It's cold, clean, clear, complex, and connected habitat. Yeah, the working landscapes and ranchers in the Ruby Valley are a big part of what keeps those 5 C's intact. The opportunities we have in the Ruby to work with your neighbor, have open, honest communication about issues and potential solutions is fairly unique in the Ruby compared to other places.
It's really a testament to the irrigators of the Ruby Valley, how they're willing to sacrifice for the good of their neighbors, and not only their rancher neighbors, but the guy that runs the motel, or the fishing guide that depends on recreation, depends on the fishing. It's really an interesting phenomenon that goes on, and it's not by accident. It's because people generally care and have a heart for the river system and for nature. They don't want to see the river dry up and the fish all die.
We believe the RVSA represents the best of what Montana is.
We don't pay attention so much to priority dates on water rights. We've worked cooperatively so that everyone can try to get through it the best way possible.